can't even think about
Pew,
it.
pew, 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 pew. Yo, mountain roads, humble abodes, the life of a spy but done cracking the codes.
Alright, so Jurassic World Chaos Theory Season 3 review. This is obviously my review of this season. I have not, posted reviews of the last two seasons or of Camp Cretaceous, but what I will say is that I thoroughly enjoyed the last two seasons of Chaos Theory, and like after Dominion, I've lost all hope for the Jurassic series, and then I watched the first season of Chaos Theory, and it was so good, easily 10 out of 10. That was one of the best Jurassic pieces of media out there. So I had really high hopes going into season 2, and season 2 was a little bit worse. And then I didn't even know that this was releasing until it released. Like each of the seasons, I didn't know they were releasing. Then I look online and they're like, "Oh, season 3 or season 2 has released." And I'm like, I might as well watch it. So now you guys are going to see how I feel about Chaos Theory season 3. Alright, so let's get into it. Okay, so the plot. I thought that it was like a little bit of, not lazy writing, but it was a coincidence that they landed in Italy. And I'm not a big fan of, in any movie series, of coincidence, like it just so happened to work out. Like it just so happened that they landed in Italy. And then it just so happened that Ben had a girlfriend that lived in Italy. And I'm not sure if it was even set up that that his girlfriend lived in Italy. So that was like, I felt like that was lazy-ish writing. And in my personal opinion, the villains are kind of shallow. Like Soyona Santos and Dodson, they're just in it for the money. And then the only one that isn't shallow is the handler, and she doesn't even speak. And alright, so into my next complaint. The first 5 episodes don't really add anything. Like they're not necessary. It seems like they're just filler, and when you have like a 10 episode season, then you can't like afford to have a 5 episode filler. And that's what mostly this show is. Like all of this show, most of it is just filler, because like the first 5 episodes, they're still at the Gia's house in Italy, and they don't really leave from there until like episode 6 or episode 7. Okay, my last point is that the locusts are explained kind of like we see them getting shipped off around the world in the underground market. Okay, so now for the good. So I felt like this show was really Kenji's show. Like this show was way more focused on him. He's by far the most developed person in the show, and there were some moments in the show where it did make me laugh, and that might be because I am the target audience, teenagers for this show. But I did find some of the humor really funny. This show was more focused on the espionage than on the dinosaurs. Now, that was the main focus of Dominion too, that it was more focused on the locust espionage and how Bison was a bad company, rather than the group surviving the dinosaurs. And my last, well, it's not like a critique, it's just something I noted, that this does take place along Dominion, and we do see like the parallels of the events happening in Malta and Dominion, and we probably will see more in season 4. And I did have like way more notes written down on my phone because I was writing while I was watching this show, and I probably just put them up there right now. Okay. So now let's move on to the characters. Now my first character is Kenji, and this show is mainly about him. The first 3 seasons, they were like all about him. In the second season, we see how his character, like how he had to cope without Brooklyn, and now we see how he really needs Smoothie. Smoothie is like the only thing that's keeping him mentally stable. And he does have a lot of funny moments, including the part about where he's in the car and then he just like holds Smoothie and he starts rapping, he starts freestyling. That was hilarious. And I will say that he is like a good symbol for mental health, especially what he goes through in season 1, season 2. And it's just like shocking, because like in season 2 he was purposely putting himself in like in dangerous events, and that is what suicidal people would do in real life. So it's nice to see that sort of representation in it, not only in a kid show but in like a Jurassic show. That's something you don't really expect. Okay, so now moving on to our next character, which is Darius. He was sidelined a lot in this season. Season one was his season. It was mainly focused on him. And but in season 2 and 3 were more focused on like Brooklyn than on Darius. And there just really isn't much he accomplished in this season. He was just there. Like most other characters besides Kenji and Brooklyn were just there. They don't really add much. And he was bland so much this season, and he added nothing of value. And I don't really want to hate on him. He is a good character, and I don't want to hate on the writers, but he just added like nothing of value. That's all I have to say. But season 1 he was pretty good, but not this season. Okay, moving on to our next one, we have Brooklyn. Now she shares the spotlight in season 2 and season 3 with Kenji, and this season is more about how she is involved in the espionage. But the thing is, like, she is a dick to her friends. Like she just like ghosts them, and I'm not sure if it's like if she wants to do that, because obviously she doesn't, but she has to like blend in and make Soyona trust her. But she could still, like, she had her phone, she could still like message her friends, because Soyona never went through her phone, so she could have messaged her friends, like let them know that everything was all right. But no, she didn't. And I get where they're coming from, where they blame her. Alright, now moved on to our next character, we have Ben. Now, Ben's only importance in this season was that he knew Gia, who provided and then Gia provided them with like transportation and like housing for the first 5 episodes, and she rode along with them. She rode along with Kenji and Sam for the last few episodes. And he doesn't do much, but he does have a lot of funny moments, especially when he was doing like all the like push-ups and pull-ups to impress Gia. And another importance he has is that he is the one that messages Brooklyn on Dark Jurassic. And that's like the only important things he does. Now moving on to our next, I actually just put these two together. These characters like barely get any like significance this season. Sammy and Yaz, they're really sidelined, and the only thing of importance they did was that they broke up, and that created a little bit of conflict. And then like right after they broke up, they just went their separate ways. Like Yaz went to Malta and Sammy went to the Dolomites. And they just didn't really do anything. And like most of the characters this season didn't really do anything except Brooklyn and Kenji. And I know I've been saying the same thing over and over, but there's not real need to have all of these characters if you're not going to do anything with them. And like the thing about these characters is that they all have plot armor and none of them die. Like in the snow scene, the Pyroraptor just straight up runs next to Sammy and like just does not bite at her, does not attack her, decides to run and attack someone that was like 100 meters away instead of attacking Sammy, who's right next to it. So it's just, there's no reason for the plot armor if the characters aren't important. Aren't important, but like if they don't get enough lines. Like, I'm not saying I want to see one of these characters die. I'm just saying it would like, the main gripe that many people have with the show is that all the characters are never in really any danger. So you could put these guys in real danger since they're not doing anything else, and that could be their significance, that they like actually are in danger. But I digress. So now let's move on to Smoothie. And Smoothie is the best part about this season. Honestly, like, it's the only reason that kept me interested, because the writers knew that people wanted more Baby Bumpy, and they honestly just added Smoothie probably just to sell toys. Now let's move on to the villains. So Soyona is like typical JP villain, but she only cares about money, not the dinosaurs, and seen that over and over again with Nedry, Ludlow, not really Masrani, but Mills in Fallen Kingdom and Dodson in Dominion, and she did not need as much screen time as she had. And also something I wrote is that she has barely any facial expressions, like honestly, and she shows barely any emotions, and she is just like a douchebag to everyone. And I get that she's in it for the money, but still, like, you could give her at least a bit more character. Like, at least like Nedry was not redeemable, but like understandable because he was getting underpaid and overworked. Anyway, let's move on to our next villain, which is the Handler. And I wrote got an actual name, like they actually refer to her as the Handler in this season, when in the past few seasons she wasn't referred to as the Handler. And she is actually shown about caring about her dinosaurs, about her raptors, because she raised them just like Owen Grady raised his velociraptors. And she also she just like dies stupidly. Like she got eaten by the Carnotaurus. She just gets like chomped on. She like stands up to it and gets chomped on. And it's just, I don't know why she would do that, why she would do something like that. It's just stupid. Like they just needed a way to kill her off, and they're like, oh, yep, now she's dead. So I don't really like that death. Anyway, so now onto my overall thoughts, and I gave this season a 7 out of 10. Like I said, most of the characters were sidelined, and this season would not be watchable that much without Smoothie. Like the segments with Smoothie, those were the most enjoyable segments, not the one in the black market, and not the segments where they're like with the snowmobiles you see here. Those weren't that enjoyable. Just like, yeah, this season was really lackluster. I didn't want to give it a 6 out of 10. I thought like 7 out of 10 because I still decently enjoyed it. I probably would not rewatch it though. So that's gonna be it. Thanks for watching, guys. That's just my 2 cents on this season. So when season 4 comes out, I'll review it, and I probably will make like a review for the previous seasons and possibly the previous movies also. So this is just my take. Feel free to agree or disagree with me in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yo, mountain roads, humble abodes, the life of a spy but done cracking the codes. Sick of wearing these clothes, done embarrassing foes, need to work on this prose before we take off for home. Yes, haha.